Joining me to discuss is Elliot Tepper. He's an international relations expert. Elliot, good evening to you. So little resistance to the rebels in Damascus and in other cities across Syria. Was the Assad government caught off guard?
I think everybody was caught off guard. It's kind of delightful to me that nobody is stepping forward now and saying, oh, we predicted it, because nobody did on any side. There were a lot of comments about his weakness and so forth. But no, I think just to stand back for a moment and say, Marcia, you and I are now sharing an extraordinary moment in the geopolitics of the region and therefore of the world, because it's such a central component, and that we've seen the downfall of a tyrant, the butcher of Damascus, and whatever else we want to talk about, the euphoria about being relieved of this dictator should be welcomed and shared.
Yes, and it is worth noting that this is a leader, a dictator who used chemical weapons on his own people, many of them children. And I think, to your point, that is why so many people find this moment almost unbelievable. And now Assad and his family fleeing to Russia, getting political sanctuary there. What becomes of Assad? Can he ever leave Russia?
I think he'd better lie low. He's a wanted man by a number of the players involved. He basically has a price on his head and a bullseye on his back. But he's now, at this moment, suddenly, after half a century of the family dictatorship, irrelevant to what's going on in the near future. There's not much chance he'll ever come back. What happens next, however, is all those different powers that have had spheres of influence inside Syria. What happens next? The regime in power, as we know, has deep roots originally with Al-Qaeda. Many of its members are cross-listed or certainly involved with ISIS. The United States and the rest of us, in a sense, are caught still in fighting ISIS. So what's going to happen next in Syria is more important than now whatever is going to happen to Mr. Assad.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more with the time we have remaining. Can this new leader, who, as you point out, has links, the group has links to terrorists, they're considered a terrorist organization by the U.S. and other countries, what risks now come with this group leading and rebuilding Syria?
The main risk we have, among others, is that they aren't really forthcoming in who they are and what they are. They're saying, yes, that used to be us, but we're not like that anymore. If you look how we've actually been governing after taking off over violently in Idlib over the other groups that were there, we are really here to govern. They are saying the right things, but as President Biden and Secretary of State Blinken has said, we hear the words. What we're looking for now are the actions. Has this group the capacity to, in fact, encompass the variety of competing groups there and be truly a government of all the peoples, plural, of Syria, when so much of Syria has now suffered for so long, and so many different factions and fractions are in physical control of parts of the territory of Syria. And some of them, although they are part of the overthrow of Assad, are actually actively engaged in fighting each other. So it's going to be a difficult road to follow here. Let's just be hopeful for the moment that we can take them at their word and that their actions will follow, as they've said, that they want to actually govern on behalf of all of the people of Syria.
Yeah, and all those people who are taking to the streets to celebrate what they hope is a new era in their lives. Elliot Tepper, thank you so much for being with us.